Hello, my name is Sher Mohammed.
And I'm Daniel.
And today we are delighted to announce that we are going to launch a series of podcasts where we will be talking about a variety of things, but basically based on English language.
Yes, and we believe that's going to be helpful for everyone, for our students, followers, and maybe people who are seeing us for the first time.
Yep, and we have long thought about what the content was going to be.
Yeah, and we thought that we would, if it's English, so we're going to start with something that Elle asked about. And this is probably Ielts, because in our offices, and he can confirm that everyone is asking Ielts, what Ielts is. And if you start English, you start it for the Ielts purpose.
But the thing is, most students are interested in specifics of Ielts, like, how can I do this in reading, how can I improve my speaking or writing, etc., right? However, since this is the first episode, we are going to talk about Ielts Essentials.
Yeah.
Can we start?
Yes.
What is Ielts?
Well, Ielts is probably something to do with international thing, and of course international English system.
Let me correct you there. For those who don't know what Ielts is an English test, but more precisely, it's International English Language Testing System.
Yeah,
how many ways are there that you can take Ielts in Uzbekistan?
Probably two.
Yes.
This is academic and general.
General training.
Yes.
So, let's say you are a student, right?
Yeah.
So if you are going to do your master's degree in the UK, are you going to take general training?
Well, for the universities or for my studies as general, I would take academic. So because university asks for academic test. But if you want to work,
you can do general training test. It is a little bit different. I would say that it's less complex.
Yes, it's less challenging. Right? The questions are easier.
Pretty mildly. So, but most of the students who come to study IELTS to the center, they usually want to take academic IELTS. Yeah. And what is the lowest point from IELTS?
Lowest point from IELTS is 1, and the highest is
9. And well, as he alluded, the lowest one is 1. But of course, nobody is going to take 1. However, do you think people can get 0 from IELTS?
Well, 0 they would get if they don't come to test at all.
Which means they are not going to receive a test report.
That's
However,
0.
The highest mark is Ben 9.
Ben 9,
and
yes.
Most people may ask, is it possible? Of course
it
is.
is. Yes.
And then, in today's video, we are going to talk about Ielts Essentials. However, if you are going to follow us and wait for the next episode, we are going to teach you how to get better and better step by step in all aspects of Ielts, hopefully.
So that the 9 is not a dream anymore.
Yep. And to be honest with you, Ielts has become somewhat easier compared to the past.
Yeah, I think that because we have materials, we have everything, people more aware of it, what it is. So to make it more easier, I'd say. So we made this podcast.
Yep. And let's go to the next question, which is that what is it used for?
Well, what is it used for? Well, that's interesting. First, as we said, there are 2 types, and it depends on what you choose. This is what you will use it for. If you chose academic, you will, of course, do it for your studies, for universities, and that checks of how a student can comprehend every material if he studies in university only in English. So the materials are and the teachers are only speaking English, so you have to understand most of it. And for works, actually.
For work, how you can use it is, let's say if you are applying for a working visa, let's say you want to go to a Scandinavian country, which is really popular these days, right?
Yeah, I suppose,
or let's say if you want to go to Europe, where the first language is English language, that company that is going to provide you with visa may ask you for a general training certificate from Ielts. However, most children as well as teenagers are becoming really, really interested and invested in their own future. Whereas when I was a kid, I didn't know what I was going to do tomorrow. Today's kids are so amazing that they are planning their future ahead, and when they are in the 8th form or 9th form at school, they are already preparing for IELTS. And why, may you ask? Because most people think that with IELTS you can only enter international universities. Of course, we have international universities in Tashkent too, a lot of them. We have one in Andijan.
We do.
And however, I think it's been a few years. Now IELTS is recognized in our local universities as well.
Yeah, and the lowest point to get there is 5.5. So that's actually.
Hopefully, they are not going to change it to 6 this year.
Yeah,
because most people are starting to prepare for IELTS from January or February, thinking that this 4 or 5 months.
And it will be enough, but it's not. Actually, it always say that it's not enough. We always say that, but And the 5.5 is not really a goal you should go for because you can do better.
You should aim for the stars.
Yes, for the stars, and at least you will reach one. Yeah,
that's very good, actually. And well, how can you apply for local universities with IELTS? As it happens, if you get 5.5, as Daniel said, or if you get at least higher than that, what you will do, you are going to submit the certificate to your local university, and then they are going to exclude you from tests from English language, which will, I think, leave a lot of room for you and time
to prepare for others. Yes,
like history, mathematics,
math,
and
like history, right?
Other subjects.
Mother tongue.
That are really actually difficult to prepare for the test, because when you are preparing for IELTS, you're actually improving your outlook and your English skills. Whereas in history and other subjects, you really have to be goal oriented
and memorizing everything.
Yes. Well, since it's the first video and I keep saying it, let's focus on frequently asked questions, because as we know, ADC has 7 branches all over the city, and most people come to our teachers, when they're free from their lessons, and they also come to our reception desks and ask so many questions. And as ADC is the only official partner of British Council in Henderson, they always come to the reception desks and want to ask a lot of questions. Not only we want to help them with the registration process, and also until they get their certificates, but also we want to give them the best advice and the true advice all the time. So let's focus on a few questions.
As I suppose as you mentioned that we are one and the only official partners of British Council, let's talk about the difference between IGP and British Council, because people keep saying that it's different.
Yeah, actually it's sometimes irritating.
Yes.
Because a lot of people ask that, but most people don't know in which case it's alright, Of course, we are here to clarify the differences if there's any.
Yeah.
However, most people have a wrong assumption about the organizations. Let's say that IELTS belongs to Cambridge, right?
Yeah.
Let's say this is Cambridge, and then here is British Council, and this is IGP.
Yeah.
I think we can call them twins too.
Twins, yeah.
Why? Because they are almost identical. Mm-hmm. So the only difference is when you get your certificate, the stamp is going to be different.
Yeah, that's
IGP is going to put their IGP.
And the British Council, of course, will put the British Council.
Apparently. And also, but there is only one factor which makes British Council different from IGP, is that you can Google it if you don't have to take my word for it.
Yeah.
You can Google it, and British Council certificate is recognized in more countries.
Yes.
So, which is why maybe British Council is more preferable by a lot of people.
Yeah.
You can see that from the volume of candidates who want to take IELTS with British Council, right? And also, another question that people ask is that which one is easier, which one is more difficult? First of all, if you are a candidate and you are preparing for IELTS, this shouldn't be your concern.
Of course.
Your concern should be, I have to get this, let's say 8, 9 from listening, 8, 9 from reading, let's say 7, 7.5 from writing, and like speaking.
8, 7.5. Like
well, if you study in ADC, it shouldn't be a problem. However, it's all a conspiracy theory. I don't know who have come up with this kind of ideas, but there's no difference, and we have checked it. We have sent our staff and our students to take from IGP and to take from British Council. Whatever you have here, it's going to reflect on your result.
They're not going to give you something different or easier. It's just going to give you the English test you've been preparing for, and you have to check your knowledge. So nothing more than that.
Daniel, can you pick up from here? Most people ask, how can we prepare for IELTS?
Well, there are a lot of ways of preparing for IELTS, and people always mess things up because they don't have a schedule, a plan, exact plan to work with, because they think that once they watch movies, so their listening will improve. Once they read something, their reading improves. But that's not how it works. Of course, you should read and watch something, but that's not always the case. Probably you should start with qualified, authentical materials, which is the most important part, because there are a lot of materials now on the internet, and the books shows us, and the problem is that they're not authentic. Sometimes they seem to be difficult, so they can improve you, but the question is constructed wrong. And many essay topics which you can find and which have a beautiful name that really telling that IELTS topics, but they're not IELTS topics. And if you don't have a right topic, you can't write correctly. Even if you write the best you could, it goes wrong because the topic is wrong. So
and also, it's probably not an academic essay that you write.
Yes, that's probably the case.
And you know why that is happening? That many people are perplexed. That's probably because there are a lot of websites, because we are living in the era of clickbaiting.
Yes, clickbaiting.
People, not only on YouTube or on Instagram, even on our local social media, which is Telegram, you can find a lot of
clickbait,
useless channels like, if you buy this book, you are going to get this. However, I would personally say that, you have to firstly improve your general English.
That's the first thing to do.
That's the blueprint to getting IELTS. Because once you come to study IELTS, what you are learning is usually, how to do the tricks.
Yeah.
Like the strategies,
methods,
right? But you are going to find it extremely difficult if your level of English isn't that good. But it's not a problem because, if your ultimate goal is to get IELTS, you have to start from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
We all started from zero.
I believe we all start from zero, and
I think everybody who's watching and who can understand us, I think can attest to that. They also once dreamed about, not only speaking but also like understanding some type of music, like small, basic music. And now that they can improve their general English. They can improve their vocabulary. How can you improve your vocabulary?
Well, vocabulary, of course, by using it. I really hate that old-fashioned method of learning, like you memorize and then repeat and ask someone to ask you the words, and that goes over and over, and you forget about that week later, day later. So it's not gonna work. So you have to use it by into context in your sentences or find the context, because if you can't remember the word, you will possibly remember the context and then get the word out of it.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's the best way to learn. And of course, listen to it, how it pronounces it, because even if you learn one, you can't pronounce it incorrectly. Mm-hmm. So we think that we pronounce everything correctly, but it's never bad to check once, right?
Yep. And it wouldn't hurt if you also improve your grammar, your pronunciation, and also your all skills.
Yeah, all skills.
What are the sections, by the way?
Well, sections are goes like listening, reading, writing, and speaking. That's 4 sections it has.
In order to get a good view of, let's say, your future, what you have to do is you have to be realistic. Of course, you have to be confident and you have to aim for the highest. However, set a goal today. Let's say, all right, today you do one test, and let's say your score from reading is, let's say you found 15 answers, right?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, you can comment me in the comments. It's probably 5. Then
yes.
If you get 15.
15. I suppose it's 4.5.
Then it's even worse.
Yeah,
but at least you know where to start.
Yeah. So
you know how to start, how to improve, and then let's say you do writing and you show it to one of our expert IELTS teachers in ADC, and then after you get it checked, what happens is maybe you get 4. Why? Because you didn't understand what task 1 was. There were a lot of pictures and numbers that were like, oh my god, what am I going to do? Because in intermediate level, the way I used to learn how to write an essay was firstly, secondly, moreover, in addition, and to put it in a nutshell, so on and so forth, right? However, you have to learn how to be academic.
Yeah.
All right, that is another question. So, as I teach IELTS, most people come up, and when I am in the reception with my co-workers, they come up and they're really excited. They heard nice things about ADC, and they came to us, hoping that we can help them because they couldn't find the help elsewhere. They're like, "Can I get IELTS 8 in
2 months?" Yes, they say 2 months or 3 months. And the problem is that their general English is not up to the IELTS. So, as he mentioned before, it was said that your general English is the first thing to start off. Because that, as we said earlier, that even if you learn techniques, the IELTS main goal is to check your English knowledge, and you can't hide it. No any tricks will help you to boost your score, as some books or sites say that it's not possible to with 1 or 10 techniques to get from 5 to 6 just because you know the technique. No, it doesn't work this way.
However, if you are going to follow the steps, and then if you are going to listen to your teacher, and not only listen, but also do something extra, if you are going to go the extra mile, and do a little bit extra hard work, and we also have a library in our main office. If you go there and if you are going to read more books, watch BBC, watch Euronews, all these kind of channels in English language which is available, probably only in ADC, right?
Yes,
So there also you can improve your English skills. And with that being said, let's not demotivate our followers who are watching. It is actually possible to get 8.
No,
and I would go as far as to say that getting 8 from IELTS is more possible than it was probably, let's say, 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. Now we have almost everything to prepare for. Now we are ready to do that, and thanks to our technology, I would say that we are ready to make like speech, to find partners with ourselves, to find materials on our own, and the self-study process is easier now, and that's not a problem, right? And the teachers, of course, have been more well qualified. We check their knowledge, we improve them. Of course, they share experience with each other, so it never stands the same. It always improves.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's another key point that I think our followers may find useful and interesting, is that let's say you were aiming for 8, but unfortunately you got 7.
Yeah.
Don't worry, 7 is still a good bar, right?
7 is amazing.
It's an amazing one, because almost all universities can accept you with band 7, and probably will be applicable for tuition fees as well.
Yeah.
And not only is that, I think since last May, there's a new initiative from our government.
Yeah.
I believe it's Youth Agency, and I think it
Youth
was registered,
yes,
right?
yes,
If you get 7
or higher, yes,
you can refund your money.
Like the money you spend on the test, like all of it. If you spend 2 million, you get 2 million, and that works. We really did it. It's from our experience. Yeah.
We are living examples of it. All right. And how else? Usually students ask, okay, I want to study IELTS because a lot of people are talking about IELTS, and also they keep seeing our ads on social media.
Yeah.
You always post about IELTS. Mm-hmm. What is IELTS? And usually parents ask them. I find it really inspiring when parents who do not know
anything about English,
right? But they are so keen on the improvement of their kids. They're like, all right, my kid has been coming to your courses, not to mine, but to ADC in general.
Yes.
Like, what is his IELTS? I'm like, okay.
Oh yeah.
First, it's not IELTS yet. Yes. Probably if your kid is, let's say, around 16, when he or she reaches the year 16 years old, she or he can take IELTS. However, IELTS is, very useful for most of them. So how we can improve it is also it's also up to you. Yes. And also, what else? How can I check my knowledge? Those students, let's say, who are watching this, as I alluded earlier, they may ask, all right, you keep saying a lot of things about IELTS, and how can I know my knowledge, and when can I be ready? Okay, first of all, Mr. Daniel, can you tell them how can this, let's say, excited individuals can improve and check their knowledge?
I would emphasize on that, excited individuals, of course. And the main part is that if you want to really check your score by verified materials, and like the score that will almost be the same with your actual IELTS score, you can always visit one of our branches and register to mock IELTS, and that's really identical. I mean, everything, the atmosphere and the mock tests are held exactly in the place where the real IELTS take place. So that's not something, it's not the room, it's a real place. And for that one, it's already better, because some people try to do some mock tests at home from the sites or from materials, and they
playing mock the audio, right? I didn't get this word from listening or spending more time.
And if they make one mistake with word and spelling, they can check out I wanted to write O, but it was A, so but it doesn't work this way. If you wrote O and it was A, that's a mistake already. It doesn't matter what you thought; it's what you read.
Very well said. And of course, taking mock tests is going to help you, but taking mock tests is not going to improve you. Maybe prepare you for the real test, because most people, when they are in the test, they are usually nervous.
Yeah,
you can imagine why, right? Probably they have a chip on their shoulder to prove to their parents that they have been studying English for quite some time. However, once you come to a mock test and get checked, what you can do is you can be honest with yourself. All right. And it's not for a big amount of money, right? It's would you say
50,000?
Yes.
Yeah, it was 50,000. Yeah.
Well, and once you do it, let's say, regardless of your score that you may get, and most people say that when you take mock test in ADC, you get lower marks than compared to other places, and that's true because we try to provide with, let's say, realistic materials, because we don't want you to come back and take mock tests because you got 7.5 in mock test in ADC. That we are not going to give false hope to applicants. That's the worst thing you can do to somebody who is preparing well.
Yes, that's right.
And also, how can you check your knowledge? As I said, we have several branches throughout the city, so you can come. You can come to our branches, and you can meet our administrators in the
workplace,
in the workplace. And what you can do is, you can say that you have a desire to study IELTS, but you're not sure if you're still ready or not for IELTS Foundation. But don't worry, we've got you covered. If you are not ready for IELTS Foundation course, we offer pre-IELTS courses.
Yeah, pre-IELTS courses, and they're really popular with students because they're not sure whether they are ready and their English is ready. And to make up for those mistakes and to check them, the real tests and the pre-IELTS tests are needed, because IELTS, it's focused on IELTS. It really improves your English, but not to the way that it can be in pre-IELTS. They really focus, they first give you the meaning of what IELTS is, but they focus on your shortcomings, what you need to work for. And that's the best way. And before the pre-IELTS or IELTS Foundation, whether you apply for that or for that, it's really advised, he said, to really take a mock test. Why? Because you know where to start from. You know what's your score, what's your shortcoming, what's the problem, and what you're good at. And we can always improve on that. So that's why it's the best way to start.
Exactly. And so, as you have explained, pre-IELTS courses will also help you in preparing for IELTS Foundation course. And you may ask, what do I do after pre-IELTS course? And in IELTS Foundation course, what you will do, you're not going to do reading for 1 hour and say, I got 35 answers today, and then go home, right? What you will do in IELTS Foundation course, you are going to come to the IELTS Foundation because you don't know the fundamentals of IELTS. So you're going to learn about the IELTS fundamentals first, right? Within 2 months. And after you finish that course, what you're going to do is you will be ready for your IELTS practice course. Right?
Yeah, that's right. You'll be ready, and then you can start your practice.
So, and not only just practicing, your teachers in ADC are going to help you analyze your mistakes and work on them, and also capitalize on your strong sides too.
Again, give insights on what you have to work on. And if you're still not sure about something, or you still want to improve to get the best score you can possibly have, after the practice, like IELTS practice course, we only have writing courses or speaking courses. We focus solely on the hardest part of IELTS. And I think, because speaking and writing is really, really challenging for students, because in reading and listening, what you do is you get the information, you write it down. In writing and speaking, you have to come up with that information.
You have to have ideas.
Yes, and the ideas.
You have to have ideas, but don't worry, everything can be achieved. Everything can be achieved, and everything is possible. So, this is our first series.
Yeah,
this was the first episode of our podcast. And if you made it until the 22nd minute, then probably you can bear with us for 2 more minutes. It's a one-take video. We didn't prepare beforehand. It's a one-take video, and because we want to keep it natural.
Yeah, right? We want to keep it natural so that you always get used to that.
Do you know why? Because all these things that we're talking about, probably let's say half of the audience know.
Yes.
And
right.
all of them, if they know how to use internet, they can find all the information that we're talking about on internet.
On internet, yes.
In Uzbek language, in Russian language, right? And here, two of us are talking and explaining what IELTS is for 20 minutes in English language. Why? Because we want to keep it natural. Yeah. We want to really, we want it to be very useful for you, so that instead of watching, let's say, unuseful videos on social media, you can actually listen to something in English and improve. That's our main goal.
Right. And that's important, because if it's natural, that's the best way to learn. Because people think that music and movies help, but they're made so it's easy to understand. It's made especially so that you have no problems of understanding that, and that's not natural. Well, if you think that you can understand the movie 100%, it doesn't mean you have a good listening. It's just because it made it easy.
Oh, maybe you were using subtitles.
Yes. Who knows? Yeah, that's
all right. So let's wrap it up.
Yes.
But I think what we can promise you is that in the next video, in the next episode, we are going to touch on the single component of Ielts.
Yeah.
We will come up with it. You can leave comments.
Yeah, leave comments.
Do you want to learn about listening,
reading, or writing, or maybe speaking?
Yes, and what sections of listening, or what question types of reading, or is it task 1, task 2, or do you hate the process, or don't you know how to write a positive, negative development essay in task 2?
Yeah.
Or like, do you find speaking in part 2 for 2 minutes difficult?
Yes.
So whatever you find, let's say, useful, interesting, we will be here and we will be listening to your feedbacks, and hopefully we are going to launch this. It's going podcast series to our audience.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's been Mr. Shah Muhammad
and Mr. Daniel.
Thank you so much.